Ever feel like you're just, I don't know, giving everything to a relationship and then it just leaves you empty?
Yeah.
Like questioning your own worth.
Oh, yeah, totally. It's something, unfortunately, so many of us have gone through. Love can make you vulnerable, and sometimes people take advantage of that.
And that's exactly what we're going to be diving into today. It's a story about love, betrayal, those tough choices we have to make when things get messy, toxic.
Yeah, these stories are always hard to hear, but they can really help us understand people, like how relationships work, the psychology of it all.
Okay, so the title of the post we're looking at today is My Girlfriend Cheated on Me While I Was Paying for Her College.
Heavy stuff, right? So basically, the guy who wrote this, he's in a long-distance relationship. Girlfriend lives in another country. He seems really in love, committed, talks about their future together. He's even paying for her college, like really investing in her and their future, you know?
Yeah, that's a huge commitment, putting your money where your heart is, supporting her dreams. Makes you think he's in it for the long haul. Totally. But here's where it gets really rough. While he's supporting her, she cheats on him with a classmate. And get this, she ends up pregnant.
Oh, wow. That's just brutal. Betrayal on so many levels. The trust is broken, and then the pregnancy on top of it. That's just a lot to process.
It is, and it gets even crazier. He ends up paying for her abortion.
Mm.
Then she gets together with the guy she cheated with, the classmate.
Wow. So she moves on with the guy who caused all this, and it doesn't seem like she even cares about how this guy feels. It really makes you wonder, like, what are her motives here? Did she even care about him?
Exactly. And here's the kicker. She still wants to talk to him, said she loved them both equally, but she wants him to keep it a secret from her new boyfriend. It's like a whole web of lies, mixed signals, I don't know.
Sounds like she's trying to keep him around, maybe for emotional support, maybe financial. I don't know. A lot of red flags there.
Tons of red flags. You know what's interesting? This guy, he shared his story online asking for advice. And the comments he got back, some of them were really eye-opening.
It is fascinating how these online spaces work. Like a sounding board, right? You get all these different opinions. Sometimes it's exactly what you need to hear.
So true. One commenter just straight up said, "You are just her ATM." Others said similar things like, "Stop sending her money. See if she actually cares about you, not just what you can give her."
Ouch. Yeah. A lot of people saw right through her, thinking she's just taking advantage of him, using him.
And that's such an important thing to talk about, recognizing those red flags.
It is. Even when you're deeply in love, got to pay attention to those warning signs.
For sure. And another commenter said, "What is better, loneliness or betrayal?" I mean, it just cuts to the heart of it.
Yeah, it's like, is it worth staying in this relationship, being afraid of being alone
Well,
when you're already being disrespected, hurt?
exactly. And that's something we all deal with at some point, right?
Totally. It's that fear of loneliness, rejection. But it's so important to remember your worth, knowing when to walk away from something that's not good for you. Like they say, love is blind, right? You get so caught up in the feelings, you don't even see the obvious.
Yeah. And it's not just about the money. The commenters really picked up on the self-worth thing, too. One said, her saying she loves you doesn't mean anything if she's choosing to hurt you, disrespect you.
That's so true. Actions always speak louder, right?
Yeah.
And what she's doing, it doesn't match what she's saying at all.
Totally.
Eh,
Like, love shouldn't mean sacrificing your dignity, your self-respect. You deserve to be with someone who actually values you, treats you well, not someone who just uses you.
This whole story, it really shows how manipulation works in these toxic relationships.
Oh, for sure. Like her saying she loved them both equally. Classic manipulation tactic, isn't it?
Exactly. It's her way of justifying what she did, not taking responsibility for the hurt she's causing. And by saying she loves both, she's trying to keep them both hooked, maybe for her own reasons.
Like she wants to have everything without any consequences, doesn't care about who she hurts in the process.
And this brings us to something really important, the whole idea of red flags. If we step back, look at this story, the signs were there from the start.
Really. Even from the beginning.
Well, the long distance thing, it's not a red flag on its own, but it can make things harder. Communication, trust, all that.
True, true. It takes a lot more work to make a long-distance relationship work.
It does. And then you add in the fact that she's doing things that totally break that trust. It's a recipe for disaster.
Right. Like cracks in a foundation just gets worse and worse until it falls apart.
Yeah.
And her saying she loves both guys equally, that's a huge red flag, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely. That's like textbook gaslighting, making him doubt what he sees and feels.
Yeah, it's messed up because it makes the person feel like they're crazy, like they're overreacting.
Exactly. And it's a way for her to shift the blame, stay in control.
This is getting pretty deep. So For our listeners, what are the big takeaways here? What can we learn from this guy's experience?
I think the biggest thing is learning to spot those red flags, even when you're head over heels, you know? It's easy to get carried away in the beginning, but you got to take a step back, see if your needs are being met, if your partner is actually in it for the right reasons.
Like, take off the rose-colored glasses. See the relationship for what it really is.
Exactly. And sometimes those red flags are subtle, little things that build up over time, creating problems, making you feel less worthy.
So how do you even see those subtler ones? Seems like a lot of people miss them.
It's about knowing yourself, listening to those gut feelings that tell you something's not right.
Yeah, gut feelings, they're important, right? Like your inner voice trying to guide you.
They are. And don't be afraid to speak up, set boundaries. If they keep getting crossed, you have to be willing to walk away. Know your worth. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Walking away, that takes a lot of courage, even when you're hurting.
It does. But sometimes leaving is the best thing you can do for yourself. It's about healing, growing.
Yeah, it's so easy to kind of lose yourself in a relationship when, like, your whole worth depends on the other person, you know? But I think this story really shows you, like, you can't depend on someone else to make you feel worthy. That has to come from you.
Absolutely. Self-love, it's the foundation of every good relationship, right?
Yeah.
You can't really love someone else until you love and respect yourself first.
Right. And part of that is, like, setting those boundaries, seeing the red flags, and having the guts to walk away when those boundaries are crossed.
Yeah, and that's not always easy, especially when you're feeling lonely, scared of being alone.
Yeah, like society makes us think being single is a bad thing.
Totally. But it doesn't have to be, right? Being on your own, it can be a good thing, a powerful thing. It's a chance to really connect with yourself, figure out your own strength, and then you'll know what kind of relationship you actually want.
It's about, like, quality over quantity, right? Being with people who actually care about you, who help you grow.
Exactly. And that's something to remember no matter what, single or not. We all deserve to be loved in a way that makes us feel good, respected, like truly seen.
So powerful.
Yeah.
Love should lift you up, not bring you down, make you question everything.
Well said. And sometimes the best thing you can do, even though it hurts, is walk away from a bad situation, even if you don't know what's next.
Like stepping out of the dark and into the light. It might be hard at first, but then, you know, your eyes adjust. You can see things clearer.
I love that. So as we wrap up our deep dive on this story, I want to leave you with something to think about.
Okay, well, let's hear it.
Put yourself in this guy's shoes. You're dealing with all this pain, betrayal, loneliness, and everyone's giving you different advice. How do you balance that need for connection, for love, with protecting yourself from getting hurt again?
That's a really good question. And it's something we can all relate to, not just in romantic relationships.
Yeah, for sure. It reminds us that we all have the power to build healthy relationships, but it starts with taking care of yourself first, knowing you're worthy.
And sometimes that means leaving something that's not working, even when it's hard.
Exactly. Because at the end of the day, the most important love story is the one you have with yourself.